Well, here we are on the dock with the boat behind us. It's Sunday. We arrived yesterday afternoon, and we didn't do much when we arrived yesterday afternoon apart from just get tied up and get something to eat and showers.
Shower.
Get something
That
to
was
eat.
the first thing.
Showers.
Second
Yes.
thing, something to eat, something fat and greasy and delicious.
Yeah,
Hot.
we had. What did we have? Hamburgers. We had hamburgers, and then today we've just been tidying up. We've tidied right through the boat and got everything cleaned up and done the laundry, and yeah, it's been good. It's been nice to be able to just sit at a quiet dock and relax. We're surrounded by boats that race with the local club, which is nice. So they all kind of understood what we've been doing. We've had lots of nice people come up and chat to us, and yes, they've been really helpful too, haven't they?
Yes, and they really like the boat as well, so that's always
Very
a bonus.
curious.
Yeah, a lot of.
And we had a police encounter.
Yes, we did. Yes,
We had
the
a
border
very
force.
police encounter today. Two big Spanish police officers with all their gears on and came on the
Guns,
platoon.
side guns.
Side guns and handcuffs and all of that, and came on the platoon, with a very serious face, and started speaking English straight away. So I guess that they knew that the boat was from England, and asked us for documentation and passports and all of that. So I had my heart being a bit, and we got everything needed. And I speak Spanish, so I straight away started speaking Spanish to be on their good side. And turns out that they were super curious about the project and stayed with us, chatting a bit and wanting to know where we're from and what we're doing exactly here. So it was lovely at the end.
They were
was,
so nice.
yeah.
They both went away going to follow us on YouTube and Instagram, but they stood here for nearly an hour chatting about what we're doing and where we're going, and they were really interested in the sort of socially responsible things we're doing, like our glasses project, giving people who need reading glasses, and collecting ocean data. They were super interested in that. They were just a really nice pair. They were lovely.
Yeah.
I mean, all our border encounters are like that. It would be so simple.
Yeah,
Yes,
it would.
yeah.
Yeah.
It would. But I mean, seriously, when they arrived and I saw them outside, we were about to eat, and like my heart skipped a beat. It
Yeah.
was like, bad.
Yeah. But they didn't want to come on board or anything. They were quite happy with everything. They just stood on the pontoon here and chatted for ages. We could almost difficult to get rid of them. They were just but they were lovely. They were such
Yes.
nice people. So that was great. And so we thought we'd just have a bit of a chat now about the journey and what it meant to all of us and how we felt about it and how we coped and what happened.
Yes, lots
I
of
mean-
stories to tell.
Oh, yes. I'm not sure we're going to remember them all.
Well,
With the three of us, we might try to.
Three brains at the same time. I hope we don't remember all the same part and then
Yes.
Yeah.
forget some others. But yeah, it should be right.
I mean, if we start with we left Plymouth in lovely weather. It was calm, but nice weather, and we set off down the English Channel. And our intention was to head out of the English Channel, keeping fairly north. We didn't want to get deep into the Bay of Biscay because the weather gets very rough, or can do. And we also wanted to make our way out into the Atlantic for several reasons. One, because there have been a lot of orca attacks on sailboats, and they tend to attack the rudders. There have been a large number of sailboats in the last 2 years have had their rudders disabled by these orcas attacking them, and it's become a serious problem. And we wanted to avoid that. We just wanted to keep clear of them because they operate around the coastline. But the other thing we wanted to avoid was other shipping, so big cargo ships and fishing fleets. And by heading out into the Atlantic off what's called the continental shelf, that takes you into very deep water where it's a couple of thousand feet deep. It means the seas are slightly smoother, or that's the idea. So we headed out to the English Channel, and Saturday, what happened Saturday?
Well, I mean,
Beautiful sunshine.
yeah. We were heading out at some point, and you mustn't forget to talk about the last encounter before getting out of the continental shelf.
Yeah, I was thinking more about the weather when we got
Yes.
becalmed.
Yeah, because so we left on a Friday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Saturday we were becalmed.
Yeah.
Yes.
We had no wind at all. I mean, we just drifted. There was no wind. So there should have been a bit of wind, but there wasn't. And that sometimes happens. So day 2, we didn't go anywhere but where the current took us, really, because, we had no wind. The wind filled in, and so we pedalled on, as we were heading out off the continental shelf, we encountered a Spanish fishing fleet. Now, there's no significance that it was Spanish, it just was a fishing fleet, and it's fairly standard practice when you meet these fishing fleets. A lot of them, they're busy, they've got a lot going on at different times. Sometimes they shoot their nets and they might be several hours and all the guys go, it's pretty boring, and then another time they're hauling nets and it's busy as you can believe when they're hauling the nets in, there's fish to deal with, or they're shooting nets, so it varies a lot. And some of these boats were lit up like Christmas trees and some not, and there was one heading towards us we could see, and so in an ideal world we could turn away. Well, we couldn't really turn away because it would have put us across the front of another fishing boat in quite a sort of dangerous position, so we needed to hold our course. The problem was that the one was heading for us was actually heading straight for us, and we were going to meet. We tried calling him on the radio, I tried, and then Mathilde tried in Spanish and in French, so we called him in 3 languages. Nothing. What happened then?
Well, we were a bit in a desperate position. We didn't really know what to do and tried to call him a few times. And then John suddenly had this brilliant idea. So he installed on the top of our mast a big strobe light, so a light that just flashes. And so we were in this situation, and that was, just a few days after leaving. And this light was already a solution. He just said, flick on the strobe light. So I just put on the strobe light, and John is going to tell you with a great pleasure how the strobe light was effective, because he's very proud of his idea and was hauling with pride and happiness about it. So I'm going to let the honor to him, because he's way too proud of himself for that,
Well, okay, so this strobe light is a white flashing light, and it is super bright. It's a xenon light, and it's not a proper navigation light, not for on a boat. And anyway, we put it on, and it went flash, 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 and all the deck lights came on this fishing boat, and suddenly it was altering course, and the guy was calling us on the radio apologising, and he was super nice, and he was obviously sort of either snoozing or making a cup of tea, and this super bright light flashed across his wheelhouse and woke him up with a shock, but it worked so well.
Yeah, just after a few days we realised how useful this light is. It's not, as John said, an official navigation light, but it is very good because, well, normally at sea those lights are more isolated danger or a rock or a wreck somewhere, and when people see them they really don't want to get close, and I don't think it's a boat that can alter course. They just think, I'm going to go into a rock and I'm going to damage my boat. And but then it proved itself really useful in terms of suddenly it was not just a steady light that your eye get used to. It was something catching your attention because of the strobing, of the flashing, and I think that's what really caught his attention. And then suddenly he realized and saw all the rest of the nav lights and saw us on the AIS and was like, oh, quick, I need to alter course. And then also just yeah, he was super nice. He was lovely on the radio. He was super nice, and he apologised, and we said, well, it's fine, it's okay, that's what we put it on for, and it was all good. So after that we decided that actually it's probably quite a good thing to run at night, so we ran with it on all night, every night. Working on the lines that if somebody thought it was an isolated danger, they weren't going to steer towards it. And but we saw very little shipping after that. Once we passed the fishing fleet, we saw the odd cargo ship occasionally, but it wasn't very much until we got into Cadiz here. Coming in through Cadiz Bay, we saw a little bit more, but as regards we were so far away from shore anyway that, as John said, we had one or twice, but most of the time when you finish your watch it was like, oh, did you cross anyone? And maybe some of the times you'd say, oh yeah, I crossed the boat, but he passed 13 miles away, so we didn't even properly see it. We just saw it on the AIS, and it passed so far away that we just didn't even have a glance at it. And so that was good. I think the fact of getting away from shore is more relaxing, because you just don't really have to worry about those shipping lanes and about big cargo ship, because theoretically a sailboat has priority under sailing, it has priority over a big cargo. But let me tell you that when a 400-meter cargo is heading towards you, and you have a very small 9 meters 50 boat.
You just go away.
Yeah, priority always goes to. It's like the road.
Yeah.
It's like how French works with driving.
Yeah.
You've got a big truck, you pass first.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's exactly. So that got us out over the continental shelf and out into the Atlantic. And so
Down south.
yeah, we had to turn. At that point, we're turning south, and that's quite exciting.
Yeah.
And heading for what we think is the warmer water, warmer weather, and yeah, we're well on our way.
Yeah.
And
When we were heading south, so we encountered the Gulf Stream. And it was really weird because suddenly you can actually feel it. It's very hard to describe and how you feel it, but you can feel it, and the water is warmer, and it's extremely weird. And then I was on watch, I was on my own on the top, and something incredible happened. It was a blink of a second, but I saw on my right side, I don't know what, something moving, and I saw a big splash of water coming out of from very far away, and my immediate thought was, oh my god, a whale almost passing by in about half a second, and it was gone, and I started shouting, there's a whale, and everyone just got ready. I think Amandine was in bed, all becalmed. Never seen anyone dressing up so fast. Yeah, I in a blink of an eye, she was like all fully dressed and ready, you know.
What?
Yeah, and that was it. I mean, they didn't see anything, and I was happily and also sadly the only one to see it, and it was so short. I think I didn't even really realize, but yeah, it was this black thing going out of the water, and then it was gone, and it was quite nice.
yeah, that was a cool moment. The journey turned out to be quite busy. After a slow start, a nice day, and then being becalmed, and then the Spanish fishing fleet, and then it started to get very busy. We struggled a bit with weather forecasting, accurate weather forecasting, and we pretty much right after that we had 3 days of what should have been really nice sailing weather heading south, with a westerly wind. So the wind was on the side of the boat, and we'd been cracking along in 10 to 15 knots of wind, with very long shallow swell. It would have been lovely, but that proved not to be the case. Unfortunately, the forecasting wasn't very accurate, and it transpired to be 35 knots of wind with 7 to 8 meter seas, big swell, and the wind was right on the side of the boat, and we were going too fast really, and we had to try and slow the boat down. We did a few things. I set the rudder, the tiller, not down the centre line of the boat. I set the tiller over quite hard and let the wind vane counteract it. So the boat's main rudder was pointing one way, and then the automatic steering rudder was pointing the other way to try and counteract it. And with the two rudders going in opposite directions, that's a bit like putting the handbrake on a bit. So that helped slow the boat down. And we had the two tiniest sails we owned, and we were still flying, and it was rough. And in amongst it all, in the night, well, it always happens at night, we had a fitting break on the boom. Now, for those that aren't sailors, the boom is the horizontal aluminium spar that goes from the mast backwards, and it goes underneath the sail at the back. And where it attaches to the mast, there's a cast block that's riveted into the end of it. And for whatever reason, I mean, it's not a very old piece of equipment, it's only a couple of years old, but the rivets failed, and the cast piece that joins this aluminium boom to the mast popped out. So the boom is now not attached to the mast at all, it's only attached to the sail briefly, at the front and the back, which is not good. And it was in the dark, and we were hooning along. Anyway, the girls were fantastic, super calm. So worked out a bit of a strategy. Matilda and I were all had all our gear on, and we were clipped on. We kind of run a policy that at night you are life jacket and harness, and you're clipped onto the boat, and you're not allowed to leave the cockpit unless somebody else is in the cockpit. I run a similar strategy during the day, but it is slightly different. So Matilda and I go up to the mast, all clipped on. Amandine's in the cockpit, and we took up a ratchet strap, and we managed to fasten that in such a way that we could ratchet strap and pull the aluminium boom back into its fitting. And I drilled the holes out slightly larger, got some big stainless steel pot rivets, and got the electric rivet gun out, and we re-riveted it back in. And I'm super proud of the girls. We did this in the dark, 35 knots of wind, and we never stopped sailing.
We didn't even take the mainsail down.
No, we didn't even take the sail above
It
it
was
down.
still up, and we were fixing the boom.
Yeah.
I think the funniest moment for me was, so I just finished my watch, and John came on his, and I just sat on my bunk, about to take my shoes off, and I can hear John with a very little voice saying, "Mathilde, I think we need to come up again." And I was like, "Oh, what seemed to be the problem?" I said, "The boom is not attached to the mast." And I was like, "Oh, all right." And at this point, I saw Amandine getting out of her bunk and saying, "I'm going to get dressed." I was like, "Yes."
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
It worked beautifully, and this just is one of the other reasons why I like to be offshore and go out into the Atlantic. If we'd been wandering our way down the Portuguese coast, keeping close to the coast, we now would have been worried, because it may have taken considerably longer than the time it took us to fix it, and we'd have been worried about being blown onto the shore or the rocks. Where we were a few hundred miles offshore, we had plenty of time. If it had taken us 24 hours to fix and we'd had to stop the boat, we wouldn't have been worried about drifting into shipping lanes or the rocks. We would have had plenty of time and space. So that's yet another reason why I like Searoom, and I think the girls agree with that. We had a few things go wrong, and we'll tell you all about them as we go through this now, but yeah, Searoom was a key part of it.